Hello YouTube, Canadian Edge here, and we are going to look at another knife. I had a friend drop this one off, asked me to do some maintenance on it, and I said, sure, but I'd like to also do a video on it. Anytime I get a knife handed to me that somebody is going to leave in my possession for a little while, why not do a video on it? So this one, it is the Kizer Activ Bantam. And just a little note about this guy, it is now discontinued. And you can still find them online and that, but if you're somebody that's been looking at this knife and thought you might want to get it, now would be the time, because they are discontinued and they will only be harder to find and go up in price. So if you find one now, pick it up, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. All right, let's see what this has to offer. So the blade on this, it is a 3-inch blade. Open, it is 7 inches, and closed, you got 4-inch handle on there. The steel on this, it is the S35VN, and it's got a drop point blade on it. And the S35VN is nice. It holds an edge for quite a while. Takes a little more effort to sharpen, but not that much. I had to sharpen this one up, and it didn't take all that long. So the weight on this, it is 3.1 ounces. Handle, it is titanium. The scales are titanium, and I believe the pocket clip as well is titanium. Excuse me. Got a little bit of a clogged throat here. And the pocket clip, sorry lefties, it is right hand only, but it can be either tip up or tip down. Right now it is in tip up position. So you can change that either way, but sorry, nothing on the left hand side. So the knife can be used ambidextrously, but lefties, as you are well aware, you got to carry it right-handed. Story of your lives, I know. I feel bad for you guys. My grandson's left-handed, and he always has to do that too. So anyway, carrying on. It is flipper opening, or you can do the dual thumb stud as well, whichever you prefer. It is a frame lock on it, and it does have a lanyard hole at the back here for your lanyard, and we've got some jimping on the scales and on the blade, and a little bit on the back there for some grip. And yes, it's a nice little knife, kind of a mid-size knife, and does well. And also the blade is centered, and there was no blade play up and down, left to right. It sits in there nice and solid. But I found Kizer to be to be nicely built knives, and they seem to have good pivots on their knives, at least in my experience with Kizer. I haven't had any issues with them. All right, let's take a look at the size of this guy compared to other knives. So we have the Ontario Rat 2, and you can see that they are a very similar size. Also the Bug Out Benchmade, and it's just slightly bigger. We'll grab a couple more knives here just to give you an idea of size. We have the Civivi Cogent, and you can see it has a bit of more length on it, and also the Sencut Saxi. And you can see both these knives are a little bit bigger, but these are bigger knives. So if you're looking for a mid-sized knife, this one might be of interest to you. And we'll do a sharpness test. Now, I don't know what they come like from the factory. I'm going to assume they're sharp because I do have a couple other Kizers and they are sharp. But I did sharpen this knife up because, as I said, a friend lent it to me and asked me if I could do some maintenance on it. And you can see the S35 VN, it takes a great edge. So no problems there. Slices up the paper with no issues. Let's see what it does with the zap strap, zip tie. And yeah, no problem there. Just gave it a little pull and it went through. This nylon, well, I don't even know if it's a nylon cord. Yeah, it's more of a twine, and it went through that with no issues whatsoever. And same with that paracord, it went through that without any problem. So it does sharpen up nicely, and you can get a good edge on it, and so it should hold the edge for a long time depending on what you're cutting with it. So the aesthetics of this knife are things that I enjoyed about this knife. I like the aesthetics of it. It's kind of a plain design. There's no real wow factor with either the handle or the blade. They're kind of common look, but I do like what they've done with the blade. They got the swedge up on the top there, and the shape of the blade. It's a good look, and it's a nice knife. The titanium has a good look to it, and just makes it look a little nicer. I like what they've done with the frame lock and the pocket clip is good. So yeah, it's a good looking knife. The ergonomics on it are very good. It's comfortable in your hand. I like the way it feels in the hand. You got good grip. One thing I would have liked is if they would have put a choil, finger choil up here. So a couple times I've used this in the last couple days. I put a finger here just to get more control, which isn't the best idea. That edge is sharp, as you have seen, and it's just not really lent to that. So the ergonomics are good, but you would have got a better purchase for this if you're doing close, shaving a stick or some food or whatever, slicing it just gives you a little more control. So I would have liked to seen that, but you don't have a lot of blade. You don't have a lot of blade to play with to put a finger choil in. So I get it. I get what they have done here, and it works. But yeah, just a side preference. Also, the pivot, it is fairly smooth, and I've noticed this with a couple other frame locks that it's not drop closed, but I think it's because the frame lock has constant pressure on the blade, but it still opens and closes, no real issues, and works great. So yeah, the pivot on it is very good. It fits in the pocket nicely, although a couple complaints I do have. It does fit the pocket nicely, and because of the smooth titanium, your hand just glides on it when it's in the pocket, so no issues getting hung up on there on the sides. But that leads me to another issue, is it is very slippery knife. When you're hanging on to it, you do feel that it is a slippery knife. So it'd be nice if they could do something just to give you a little more grip. Maybe just putting, they did do a bevel in that here to give you a bit of a grip, and it does work. But especially back here, I notice my fingers slip a lot in my grip. So that's something to be aware of if you are looking at this knife. It does have a slippery handle. Also, the flipper, it's a big flipper, and you do notice it in the pocket. As Nick Shabazz would say, it's a pocket pecker. You do notice that. And also I noticed, because it extends so far here, that a lot of times, at least when I'm closing the knife, I'm hitting my thumb, and then it's not quite, it doesn't close as smoothly as some. I mean, you can get used to it and hold further back, and yes, you could say, well, that's a good safety. You're not going to cut your thumb. It'll stop before. Yeah, but it just doesn't make as smooth as other frame locks or even liner locks, because you are dealing with that. So it's not a horrible thing, just something to get used to when working with this knife, that's all. But in reality, they could have had a smaller flipper, would have worked as well. But the knife itself, it's a good knife. Really like it. I would recommend this as an everyday carry knife for somebody looking for a mid-size everyday carry knife. Maybe it's a little on the smaller side, so it fits better for a lot of people that don't want a big bulky knife. Good knife, and the titanium's gonna last a long time. The S35BN is gonna last a long time. So you got good materials here in the knife. If you take good care of it, it's gonna last you a long time and be a really good knife for your everyday use. And I encourage people, please maintain your knives just like anything else. Your car and other things that you use, you have to maintain them. Make sure you do regular maintenance on your knife. Keep it working properly. Check the screws, lubricate the pivot, and keep it nice and sharp, because a sharp tool works better than a dull tool. So yeah, just a little side note there. But back to the knife, I do like, I like the way it's designed. It's a nice knife. Also, because of the slipperiness, pulling it out of your pocket sometimes, it's best to hook the pocket clip when you're pulling it out, just to give you that extra grip, because if you're hanging on back here to pull it out, as I sometimes tried to, your fingers do slide a little bit. So that's another downside to it, but it's not the end of the world for sure. I would easily recommend this as an EDC for anybody looking for a knife that that size and good quality materials in them. So yes, check it out. That is the Kizer Activ Bantam. I think you'll like it if you're looking for an EDC that's got titanium, S35BN, and that this might be one that would interest you. So Kizer Activ Bantam. All right, thank you for joining me on this review. Got other reviews and unboxings coming up. Watch for those. Be sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I will get back to you, and we'll do this all again. But until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.